Welcome to our presentation. This is Shafiul. We're going to present about sustainable marketing. The topic of our presentation is sustainable marketing, a game of two halves. By game of two halves, we basically mean two perspectives, one of customers and one of marketers. How the customers perceive sustainable marketing and how the marketers are trying to influence the customers on their attitude towards sustainable marketing. We were to analyze a journal and identify 5 specific points from the journal. The points that we have identified and picked are factors of sustainable marketing, firm strategy towards sustainable marketing, how the customers are perceiving and influenced by sustainable marketing, SOI of sustainable marketing, that is the influence of sustainable marketing on customer equity, and last but not least, it is the influence of corporate social responsibility on sustainability. Now we will go through all of these 5 points, and this will start from factors of sustainable marketing now.
Thank you, Shafiul. The first factor of sustainable marketing is the economic aspect. This is the most important one considered by the people and for the different professors and students, because this is the one that has the more impact in the economy and in different societies. This is because the operation of the company in the economy are very important, because with them they are giving away the poverty in certain areas, and as well they are creating jobs. In this way, not just governments but also the customers look forward to see what the companies are doing in their society and in their economies. The second aspect is the environmental aspect, and this one not regard the environment or the social or the human aspects, but also about the fauna and flora. It looks for the different environments that where the company operates. The third one and last one is the social aspect, and this also is very common and very known in the companies and CSR programs, since most of the company applies social aspects and social programs such as building schools for the kids, or give more opportunity to the women in the towns or societies where they operate. Moving on, customer service sustainable orientation. It's very hard to quantify or to define. However, we have 2 points here which can help the companies to improve this point. The first one is most of the time companies are focused in generalize the concept, and what this journal is finding is that in different cultures the data is different. It's not the same to analyze Western and Eastern people, because they have different approaches and they want different things. In a study, a survey taken by the journal that we selected, we can see that 70% of the people in the shows that the people in Eastern relies more in the relationship value, while the people in Western relies more in the value that the company can give to them. It is the Western people goes more to the point, goes more to the aspect that the company can give to them. Now we're going to move to Shafi, that's going to go through the third point.
Now we will look at firm strategy to influence customers' attitude. So there are many strategies actually. The 5 we have identified are not the only ones. So this is the 5 that we have come about. The first one is geo-specific strategy, which is basically the customer's perception is not specified or generalized. You cannot just conclude anything about that. It is more specified at terms depending on demography, depending on culture, depending on places to places. So while looking at customers' perception on sustainability, as we have seen in Andres's part, it varies from Eastern culture to Western culture as well, and the study shows that as well, as we have provided the information in the report. So the strategy for the marketers needs to be geo-specific, which is specified on specific demography or specific classes. We will now move on to the second point, which is engage the customers on sustainable marketing issues. There is already a system called reverse channel system, where the customer sells the recycled product and the consumers buy those products. So in these ways, the customers are involved in sustainable marketing. once they are involved more in with these issues, they get to know more about sustainable marketing and gets involved more on these issues and more on purchasing as well on sustainable behaviors. The next one is labeling. Survey shows that 766 members show 70% of consumers are likely to be convinced by packaging. We see this from the references in the report as well. So people are mainly basically looking at the labeling as well of the products. What visualization does to customers is a thing that any other marketing strategies cannot do. So people needs to see the difference. They need to see the difference in the labeling as well. Like for one example could be of Mortin when they launched environmental friendly packaging for their aerosol as well. Now we can go to educating the customers. This would be an easier option for the markets and the customers as well, because when you have an educated customer, your perception towards sustainable marketing and the concept will match, and that it will be easier to come up with a conclusion and come up with a common concept of sustainable marketing and the marketing way of doing things in a sustainable way, because through mutual understanding you can develop a strategy at that point of time. Successful communication of sustainable activity. Again, we go back to the communication and the visualization thing. Pura Vida's communication, coffee that creates good, is a very good idea or an example for this. People purchasing Pura Vida because they visibly are positioning themselves, and people can visibly see that they are contributing a lot to the environment and to the society as well. Once customers get to see these things, it's easier for them to relate themselves with the product, and thus by attaining on sustainable marketing and get more involved on the marketing strategies and the sustainable marketings. Thank you for the time. That's all for part 3. Now, number 4 is sway of sustainable marketing. That's influence of sustainable marketing on customer equity. So basically, different books and journals have identified customers' equity on 3 parts, which is value equity, brand equity, and relationship equity. Value equity is mainly like cost-benefit ratio. People want the most output from the least they spend. People want the cost-benefit ratio to be higher. So for that, sustainable marketing could be attained in that manner. And now moving on to the brand equity, people can identify themselves. People want to identify themselves with a specific brand in the brand equity format. Like for example, could be of David Beckham body spray. Once David Beckham endorses a body spray, people want to identify themselves with that very brand. Things could be said that if the marketing of David Beckham and the positioning and the attributes of sustainable marketing could be done in a more sustainable way and in a sustainable way, people will also perceive that and would be influenced by that because of David Beckham. So that is one way of doing the positioning as well. The third point is relationship equity. A study on luxury brands show that customers are mainly depends on value equity and brand equity and not relationship equity. The reason behind this is that they want new products as for luxury or fashion brands, but not the relationship equity who will just focus on relationship and not focus on the products. So it depends, it varies from places to places. Another good example could be of new mom sampling for Dettol, where the Dettol team goes to the newborn babies of the hospital and they position themselves, they market themselves and hands away gift to the moms for the newborn babies, so that memory is kept for a long time. This is an immaculate memory that could have kept for a long time, and people could relate with them, and this will build thorough relationship equity as well. So that they are doing in sustainable manner as well, because the Dettol products are sustainable and they are attaching to the newborn babies who are very affected by a lot of things and very affected with a lot of germs by outside as well. So it is necessary to just identify with the good products and the products that mean a lot. Now I would like to welcome Andres again to continue with the 5th part, which is
Now we're moving to the relationship between CSR and corporate social responsibility and sustainability. CSR began as a concept primarily focused on ethical issues, but with the appearance of sustainability, it changes its concept and it moves on to assess the impact of the economy in the economic factors, social factors, and environmental factors as well. Before, the CSR was just focused in what is the need in present and didn't take into account the perception of the customer However, with the sustainability concept, now CSR approachment takes into account the customer point of view, how customers see the company, and how the customers see all the actions that the company has taken all over the years to take care on the environment. Now, because of this, the company has evolved and has moved from a reactive to a proactive way. It is the company stops doing things in the present. It means, for example, before with the CSR programs, companies used to build schools or make charity programs, things that just last, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, the time that while the company is in that town or in that zone. However, with the concept of sustainability, now companies are trying to focus in the future. So they are trying to build programs in which they just try to reach more customers through developing strategies in which they focus on current problems but considering future needs. With this concept, the sustainability address the sustainability management, and in that way they adapt their operations to reach a better performance and to reach the customer in a better way. Now let's move to our recommendation. That's our last point. Thank you.
So after reviewing all the 5 points, we come to our conclusion. We see that a lot of strategies have been undertaken by marketing firms and the customers perceive those in a different way. Not that every time the perseverance of the perception of customer matches with that of the marketer strategy and how they want the customers to understand the things. So it's still a vague idea, still a conundrum, still you can say is a dilemma to match the two parties. So that's why we identified it is as the game of two halves. It will only come into effect and it will only be positive once the two merge together into a common perception or a common generalization. So what we can say and conclude that is that customers need to engage more, marketers need to do activities to engage the customers more into sustainable marketing so that they can have a common perception towards the sustainable marketing term and the way and how it works. And as for the recommendation part, and as the idea is still vague, we can say that it could be a good idea to educate the customers in a sense to work with the marketers to develop an idea, but the world is not of unlimited resources. That will cost a lot to educate the customers, educate a generation who is already in the middle of their lifetime. So the focus, what we think, should be on the generation next, so that we can develop a generation focusing on sustainability and activity and every related kind of things. We can just develop them in such a way that the customers identify sustainable marketing and inborn in a way they can identify the sustainability issues. It is not like that a sudden infusion will change the whole thing. We need a collaborative effort and an educated generation to understand all the things. When the customers will start to question the right things about sustainable marketing, the markets would be then focusing on to deliver those results. So this is a good idea to just get more into the educating the sustainability into generation next. So that is, but there remains a question with that as well, whether that would be a much greater challenge for the marketers to meet and educate customers' demand as well. So we will leave you with that question, and that's all for our presentation. Thank you for your time.